And this time, well, first of all, I present myself. My name is Alessandro Pepe, and I am with Lindsay Gabber, the creator of the wine club. This idea of this Collectors and Legends Club arrived, I think, 4 or 5 years ago, because a lot of people were asking, can we have like more high standard wines? Can we have wines that are a bit more aged, that are more ready to drink? But sometimes you send us like Barolos, they're too young, and so on. And we started to ship extra wine to some friends, and then these friends become bigger group, and finally we decided to do a Collector and a Legend Club, which sometimes we have to close it because at the moment you are more than 180, and that's really the maximum amount of people that we can deal with because we are actually selecting bottles that are almost impossible to find, most of them. I will explain what does that mean. You might find singular bottles online, but the concept is those bottles come directly from the wineries. So it means that they are not aged in a cellar, they're not bought on the web, they come directly from the winemaker. And we needed to work for more than 10, 15, 20 years with some of these winemakers. So to tell them, please, can you keep like 120 or 180 bottles of a special reserve of Barbaresco? Are we going to come back in a year, or no, we're going to come back in 10 years to buy it, 5 years. And so this is actually creating an incredible community of winemakers and of wine drinkers on the other side. There are somehow, selecting each other in a way. It would be impossible for me. It's going to be like a video of like 2 hours and nobody's going to watch. But I would like to select a few of these bottles that to me represent how our collector. This is all the bottles. There are half of the collectors, half of the legends. When people are asking me what's the difference between collectors and legend, a simple example, for example, if we are buying a bottle directly from the cellar of Castello de Rampolla, the collectors take San Marco, and legend can take Vigna d'Alceo, both of them old vintages. Or, for example, it might be 2015 Barbaresco for Paitine for the collectors, and 2004 the same Barbaresco for the legends. Some of the bottles are older, some of them are actually a bit more pricey. For example, I think I have seen a bottle of Kurni somewhere. I don't see it where it is. Oh, that's the perfect example. This is collector and this is legend. So this is the 2014 Sori Paitine. This is the Reserve 2009. I'm actually, both of these wines are incredible. I'm not saying that one is better than the other, but for sure this is more unique, and it's also a bit more pricey. And what else we're gonna have here? This is an incredible, this is the Radici Mastroberardino 1998. This is the last vintage where Mastroberardino, the father, were still making the wine. I know that there is a kind of a stereotype in saying that the children are worse than the fathers in making the wine especially, but in this specific case I can guarantee that his father, of Piero Mastroberardino, was still using the big oak barrels and not the smaller ones, so the ones that were less oaky and a bit more and a bit more subtle. You could feel more of the soil. Also, 98 was an incredible vintage. This comes directly from the vineyard, directly from the winemaker, and it's an astonishing bottle. And you probably know how fancy became this producer, Rosse 2016. This is a wine that is aged for 8 years in the cellar from my friend from my son and Ar.Pe.Pe Gatti Perego, which is the name of the father of Isabella. They have one of the steepest vineyards of northern of Italy on a slate soil. Harvesting there is an extreme sport, as I used to say. My friend Rizzi, he saved for us 180 bottles. I took actually 12 for myself of this Barbaresco Nervo 2015, an incredible vintage. We have a great selection of champagne. All of these champagne are small growers, Recultan Manipulant. They are being selected by myself, but mainly by Paolo Zaccaria and Dario Cappelloni and Correri, which are possibly three of the big, they are wine journalists and the three biggest experts of champagne that I know at the moment in Italy. And we have, I know that this might not sound as a wine that you can recognize. You're not gonna find this wine online. This is only 300 bottles produced. This is a blend of two wines coming from two different winemakers. One is called Le Sorelle Manca from Romagna, and the other one is called Neoneli, Samuel. We're going to be there actually in a month with Armando and Simone. They're actually recording on the other side. Ciao Simone, ciao Armando. And this is, to me, is a little masterpiece because it was not easy to convince two winemakers to work together in Sardinia. Sardinian people tend to be kind of tight, and they tend to, work for themselves and defend their own local community. So the idea of actually connecting two villages that are connected by a road that is called the Statale 131. So this is a little gift, a little thing that it's a wine that doesn't exist. 300 bottles, consider that 180 were in the wine club. So like I would say that there is another 120 bottles. I kept some at the restaurant here in Rome and the other one in New York. And we are actually officially importing Jean Faury. This is a Gevrey Chambertin. You probably know the price of a Gevrey Chambertin at the moment in Burgundy is actually quite high. Our friend Simone Scaletta, this is a 2014 a special reserve. We bought all the vintages of all Scaletta wines, and you know how Scaletta is part of our wine program. What else we can mention? Kurni. This is Oasi degli Angeli, and this is a crazy guy that is making a wine. I think there is actually more than 10,000 plants on a little spot. The production per hectare per acre is, I think, less than 300 kilos, which is nothing for 1 hectare, 2 acres. Vinera. This is a special reserve that I actually tasted in his cellar when I was there in Sardinia. It's really rare to find an old Marmogliata, also because all these winemakers of Marmogliata, they started to make wine only in the last, they bottle wines only in the last 15 years. So having an old Marmogliata, this is probably the only unique, with Seduleso, the only unique bottle of an old Marmogliata existed in this incredible village. This is our blend of the 3 bottles of Rosso di San Giovenale. You probably know, you can see it from the video, that we tasted more than 65 bottles. So again, another wine similar to this one here, a wine that doesn't exist. You can actually recognize from our R. I strongly repeat over and over, we are not talking about a private label. We're talking about a private wine. So it's a wine that is made with the purpose of pleasing your palate and my palate too, of course. So it's a wine that is based on incredible collaboration between myself, Armando, that is now is a bigger expert than I am in wine, and Julia, and our incredible team of sommelier, of course, and Lindsay, that at the moment she's doing an incredible wine tour in Sicily with some clients and friends. And of course, you probably know that Vigna dal Cielo 2018. This is people that came to my tasting, they know the story about Castello di Rampolla. This is the first expensive wine I've ever had in my life. When I was 18 years old, I was invited to a harvest party, and I was lucky enough to meet Maurizio Di Napoli and Giacomo Takis, that were actually releasing this wine for the very first time. And so to me, this is my Madeleine. So the reason why I'm here is this wine over here. And Selvapiana. This is also another special reserve of Chianti. You know how Chianti can be tricky. In order to evaluate a good Chianti, usually it's time. Time is on the side of Chianti. The bad Chianti, usually after 3-4 years, are completely gone. When a Chianti can be aged for 15, 20, this is almost 20 years old Bucerchiale. Selvapiana is one of the few winemakers in the northern part of Chianti area that are still making muscle selection, so they are producing their own plants of Sangiovese, Canaiolo and Colorino. I could say thousands of other things, but that's the story. If you want to know something more, just get in touch with us. Keep in touch. More you communicate with us, you know that I always answer to your messages. No matter how late you send me a message, I am there for you. We're spending a lot of energy in order to establish this incredible community that we created. And it's an incredible community because it's not just a community of wine drinkers and wine passionate. There are people that like to travel. There are people that like to travel to their palate, to expand their knowledge, their sense of pleasure, and also to knowing new people and getting in touch with all programs that are actually supporting cultural biodiversity all over the world, which is the only thing that I like to tell about Italy, despite the fact that it's full of Italians. Italy is an incredible culturally biodiverse country, and especially in these days where environment is starting to be a big issue, I have to say that the idea that one of these winemakers, also because of our support, They are somehow saving maybe an old vineyard, an olive tree. They're making honey, for example. They are actually, we have this incredible program now that will involve also the collectors and the Legend Club of making our own vermouth and bitter. We bought a liquor company in Amiata, which is the only company that produces vermouth and bitter amaro without using any artificial aromas and chemicals. And also we're going to use the quality wine in order to make incredible vermouth and bitter. We're going to do a first presentation probably in April in New York, and of course you will be the first one that will be invited. Thank you very much for your attention, and please keep in touch and come to Italy to visit us again, and any other question you have, I'm here and our team is here for you. Thank you very much. Ciao.